Black people, welcome. You know, we love your beautiful faces and thank you for lending us your ears. You know, this is the PM Hour. We're all about our people and it's all good. So let's just get right into it. You know, we're going to talk about another one. And this is it right here. I'm Patrick.
I'm Tasha.
I'm Terry.
Oh, yeah, peace and blessings. It's your boy, Gary. You know, it's all about the melanin, y'all.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to bring a story today. Just a little awareness for you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a conversational piece. I want to make sure, you know, we all get a chance to say something about this. But I want to say I think it's an attack. I think it's an attack, right? Now, this is an attack that's probably been going on for years, we could say. But up until recently, I feel like it's more of a normalization of this attack. And this is what, like, where we get to the root of this issue. It's a normalization. It's a normalization of the attack on black masculinity. And the way it comes is through the feminization of the black man. Now, let's just take a look at our music. Let's take a look at our TV that we see, right? Let's just take a look at our real life, right? Essentially, you can't even really name a really black macho man, right? Most of our macho black men are getting really retired. You know what I'm saying, right? The older ones we say, you know, Denzel, all the actors that we have, right? Denzel, Samuel, right? All these men probably getting ready to retire. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even Idris is probably like pushing 40, late 40s, mid 40s,
or 50s, yeah,
or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Close
I mean,
to 50.
Who do we really, as you say, as a black community, really jump out to and can really say, like, you know, that's one of them, you know, macho black men that you want something like your sons to kind of emulate in a certain kind of way, right? You know, it's kind of virtually non-existent. Well, I'm going to say that, you know what I mean? Because the idea is, I do want to kind of expand to see, like, because, you know, my sisters is here, and that's why I kind of like this dynamic, because I want to see what kind of stuff do you, and both of you ladies have sons, so what kind of stuff do you guys either teach, or what do you guys, when you do see these kind of normalization and this kind of say of not really getting the, of not really seeing that kind of like, you know, that solid brother, the one that stand out, you know what I'm saying, that one that kind of really, you know, that knows that, you know, he's very secure in the type of brother that he is, you know what I mean? But it's like, I guess if you want to say it gets out of macho quality, but at the same time, you know, just stand up. You know what I mean? Just kind of like a stand up brother. You know what I mean? Because again, we don't really get to see it a lot. Remember, a lot of our content is really, it's forced. I'll say it was just forced. Let me just go ahead and put it out there. I say it's forced. A lot of our content is forced, and we're getting really soft features.
Well, when you say forced,
that you say one more quick that we talked about conversation. That not just in the black community, we also have it, like we said, even in the Latin community, right? You said there's no machismo, like you said, black Africana kind of man, right? They leave that for the more lighter complex and the more water looking ones, the güeros. You know what I'm saying? They make them look more, and they don't virtually take them out. But they feminize the African ones looking a lot, right? They want to kind of give them the softer features, you know what I mean? With the lip glosses, like I say a lot. They like to, you know, put them in that, you know what I mean? Heavy manscaping. I manscape, and I'm not saying I speak against that. You know, all our brothers out there, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to look good for our women. But there's an overdoing it. And yes, and there's like a metrosexual kind of content that comes when you're doing a lot of over manscaping and stuff like that too as well. Because...
Yeah, and you know, you brought up a good point. This is a good topic because, you know, this is what's going on. You know, this conversation has been in the black community since we noticed that it was starting, you know, the feminization of black males, you know? And even in today, you know, recently you have Little Mama came out and said that she's starting a heterosexual rights movement amid accusations of transphobia. And one of her statements,
you know why she said that, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, in her
the
statement,
origin of why she said that.
Which is?
She was speaking up against Dwayne Wade
yeah.
and Gabrielle Union's
daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Sorry, their daughter.
She's turning into a
Zaya.
Yeah. Right.
And she was speaking up against that. Well, actually, she wasn't even speaking up against it. She was just giving her opinion.
Yes.
She was in an interview, and I think the topic came up, and she felt free enough to give her opinion on that.
Well,
and then she got attacked, so that's where this came from.
So Little Mama explained the movement she's creating is necessary to protect herself and other heterosexuals from being bullied by the LGBTQ community. And I can't totally disagree with her. Now, I'm in support of the LGBTQ community and what they're going through and everything, but I mean, we have to be careful, and I think that's where the lines get crossed, because people who are heterosexual, we shouldn't feel ashamed for being heterosexual. Shouldn't be ashamed for that, and they shouldn't be ashamed also, LGBTQ community, for being who they are.
Right.
So we have to tread the lines carefully, and that's the thing. And speaking specifically of feminization of the black male, it's almost as if nowadays we've passed the point of just the introduction of homosexuality, geared towards black males, but we're at the point where it's a requirement. It's a requirement that every media, painting or music or video or movie or whatever has some kind of gay like black sensitivity towards homosexuality. Like we have to take on that mantle too.
You speak about the media. That's kind of really interesting because they're
the largest driving force of it.
Yeah, right. On Crenshaw and Coliseum, there's a billboard that says support black gay men. Right?
That's still there.
Yeah,
they had that for a long time.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, even though it says support black gay men, I don't have any issues with any of them, which is the black gay men, the transgender, the ones that are confused, or any of those sort. So my whole thing about the situation is that when it's like, to me, when it's like in your face, that type of sort, it's just, that to me is like more bothering when people is like pushing it like all up in your face.
Yeah.
That's just more of my thing. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it because I know plenty of them. I have friends that are, that are gay.
But what do you do
I
for
have
your sons?
transgender of them like that. So even if my sons are young.
Yeah.
But
you can't say they don't see the content. The content is there. You just, I would say like a lot of, I mean, and not to say like you don't, you kind of give your kids the freedom and that's okay. But what I'm trying to say is though,
I guess he's asking me a question.
Yeah, right. The question is when it is, because you do watch movies with your son. So when that does come up and that does seem stuff like that, what is the type of teaching that you do give to your sons in that kind of nature when that happens?
Okay, so the teaching I would give my kids, like I would tell them, not even to shun them, you can still befriend them at the end of the day. And even if my kids, sons or daughter, do want to become that way, okay, I will still tell them like, okay, no, I will prefer you to be straight. But at the end of the day, if they do decide to be gay or a transgender, however, I would still be a little bit disappointed because none of us as parents, and I don't care what they say, be like, oh no, I told my child they was going to be gay. No, I'm pretty sure every parent wanted their child to be straight. But if they do turn around and be gay, I'm going to be disappointed. Or transgender, I'm going to be disappointed. But hey, if that's the route that they choose, I'm going to have to accept that at the end of the day in a very disappointing way. Because somewhere down the line, I know somewhere behind my back, of course, they're going to have another friend that is going to be that way or whatever, because, that's that way. It's a community within its own. We all know that. So, they're going to go and get whatever hormones that they're going to take or get some type of help. However, even if I do decide not to help them, but, they're going to have their own community that's going to help them. So if I decide not to do it, they're going to get that help anyway. So I will still have to climb on board to help my child, whether it's my girls or whether it's my boys. So I will still have to jump on board and be like, you know what? Hey, this is it. You see what I'm saying?
You still would support.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to, just as the mother, because I see that's what they're going to do anyway, because I didn't want to accept it, whether it's in the beginning.
But because of the love.
Because I'm still their one mother. So then let's say my sons, let's say I'm talking about my sons. So let's say my sons is like, okay, you know what, Mom? I don't even want to be, gay. Now I want to be a transgender. So now I'm like, okay. Now you want to take it a bit further now, I see, son.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I see now we're just going to take this a bit much. So since they want to go that far, now I really have to put my cap on, and I'm like, okay, well, you want to go that far, son?
Well, yeah. And you brought up a good point with about the dichotomy of the whole situation as far as being a good parent, being supportive, as opposed to your own personal opinions of the matter. And you don't support it, but then you have to compromise, right?
Exactly, and, because every parent has to compromise. That's kind of integral to the issue. You're like, okay, well,
Well,
it shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to be that.
Right.
It shouldn't have to be that.
I think
but
it's more
seemed
of like
a lot
trying to appeal to a sense of humanity.
Yeah,
What it is.
I mean, that's tactics. You know what I'm saying? That's tactics. It seems as if, sometimes that's the only way a lot of people make their points, by making the other feel guilty about what they're doing in order to make their point. But however, the core of it, though, what we're trying to get at is making everybody feel comfortable making their own choice and decisions. I should be able to be this without the judgment. You should be able to be that without me judging you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But opposing opinions bring about conflict. Wars have been fight over opposing opinions. And this is a human thing. This is a human thing. Like, can we disagree but still find peace? Can we come to some kind of compromising or some kind of middle ground,
right,
where you say, okay,
now
I applaud your choice to make decision over your lifestyle, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But don't make me feel guilty about how I choose mine because it's opposite of yours, as a validation for what you chose to do with your life.
It should,
you follow me?
It should be a common ground at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
It should be a common ground because you're right.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're searching for.
Well, absolutely. You know? And then again, but see, the thing is this. I think we kind of get into this tug of war, right? Because again, I know that we will have to teach our sons, you know what I'm saying? Well, we don't have kids, so what much can we really say, right?
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to try to teach our youth, our nephews, and whoever little young brothers that we come across, we're going to still try to speak against being homosexual, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is this, we could try to say as much as we want, we get the common ground, but at the end of the day, we're going to still try to prevent as much black men as we can from not going into that.
Yeah.
So then we're going to get this pull.
Yeah.
So then they say that our sense of common ground is a bit false for them, for their argument.
Yeah.
You know,
and some umbrage what you just
but,
said. A lot of people take
now,
umbrage
again,
what you just
right.
said too.
Now, of course, right.
Yeah.
Because again,
I agree with you.
there still has to be a hard stand. Because again, I don't want to necessarily say, right, that it is like, okay, a lot of attacks that happen on gay black men come from heterosexual black men, right? Yeah. They go out and do whatever they want for whatever idiotic reason.
It's usually who you're close to.
What I'm saying. So the thing is,
in your community.
Okay, the thing is this: I am not for that, right? I am not saying there should be any type of transgressions against gay men in saying that, but again, I still have to stand on the hard line and saying that homosexuality is not okay for the black community. It just won't flourish. There's too many strong brothers out there that I do feel, we just got to get connected. That's why we do this podcast. Right. We got to get together, and there's still a hard stance of brothers that's still against that. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain extent, if they say that, if our this kind of common ground, if it is false, and not to just really interrupt your point, but if there is a common ground, right, and if they say that that's false, whatever, I'm still going to have to say, well, then, that's more on the dealings you have to deal with, right? Yeah. Because I'm not going to promote homosexuality. That's something I'm not going to do. No, that's just not happening. You know what I mean? I cannot have this. I mean, just look at the type of world we live in, right? And especially a lot of us that don't grow up with fathers, right? And they're virtually eliminated, right? And then you want me to try to say and give here support to gay men and in gay relationships, and then the whole thing is this: when we're talking about this,
gay couples don't have kids,
right? You know what I mean? A whole thing, right? We just eliminated the women. So I'm supposed to give my support to a gay man and then not even think about what's going on the whole time.
I'm 100%
supporting
black women.
Right? Especially
black women.
Hey, 100.
God is a black woman. God is a black woman. If you ask me, so you know what I'm saying. So
please, my queens out there. You know what I'm saying. I just wanted to just kind of really give that in the point.
I mean, I do get and understand.
I feel like it was just a lot to unpack there, right? A lot what you guys said to I mean, I don't even know where to start. But just to even get back to the point of the feminization, I think a lot to what you guys said where you spoke about common ground and how to even fight against that. And, how do we tackle even that topic when it comes to our kids? Yeah. And sis, I know you spoke about that, but I think it gets even more because we're talking about, first of all, the attack on black masculinity, which is broad, and then specifically about the feminization of
very much so.
But the feminization of black men, even nowadays, start even younger. Because even with my son, like my son is 5, younger because your twins are 11 and mine's 5. It starts even before that. And just to talk about the feminization, I'll give you an example. In his daycare, but he was bringing his iPad. A lot of the kids were bringing their iPads, and the person that runs the daycare or the preschool was, you know, speaking to all the parents and said, okay, the kids cannot bring their iPads anymore because you know, and they're watching kid content.
Right.
This is on YouTube.
That,
Their content is blocked.
Right.
But she was concerned about some of the commercials that was coming up. And some of the commercials was coming up was like, regular commercials, but like with two dads. Right?
Wow.
So you have two dads. And it's not anything to even discriminate. They're not even making it a big deal. It's basically like a Tide commercial.
Yeah.
Or like Clorox commercial. You know what I'm saying? And you see the little kid running around, little girl, and
Yeah.
they washing her clothes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's two dads.
So it's in subtext.
And it's subtext. But it gets into the kids.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it starts from there. And then, you know, as you get older, you have certain things like you guys remember Modern Family, yes. But even beyond that, like we had, you know, where you said, oh, you had to have these movies where you have certain men. You had, I remember, because, you know, I remember growing up, they would have certain men that would say, I would never play a woman in in a role. I would never put on a woman's dress. But then you had other women that the black community, like, I'm not calling Martin out. That's not what I'm saying. But Big Mama's house, right?
Yeah.
So certain things like that, where you had like, you know, the feminization of black men, but it was done in such a subtle way, and even to bring it now to like
Chappelle
modern
like that, like Chappelle talks
exactly,
about that.
Exactly. But I'm saying if you're not paying attention, and then to even bring it forward now to say Moonlight. Right, that's another movie that did really well, and they really wanted to kind of push it in the black community. But then you have stuff like that, and even now, not to get controversial, I'm only bringing it up as an example. But Zaya Wade, and you know, that whole situation and how it's so controversial. You even spoke about it earlier, with Little Mama, right, and all that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like there are these things in the black community and how they try to subtly portray it, and we don't see it as like an outright attack, but it is, right? Because we're being attacked on all these other aspects when it comes to the black masculinity. But since we're going to focus on this specific thing here, you see that it is also strong, and it's been happening over centuries, over the years.
Well, let me say,
right?
Let's good point. Let's go even deeper. Let's go even deeper, because a lot of it we're talking about it too, and part of the core of it is that on some level we don't have any control over how it's being portrayed to us. It's like there's an outside force outside the black community trying to make us think this way. We can't even be the judge and jury of this subject in the black community. We're being led. Now, let's face it. The media is controlled by white and Jews. Well, Jews are white people. Let's not. They're white people too. But you get me. We're regular content.
Different topic.
It's controlled by different ones. So the media has a definite influence over the black community. And black people watch television and media more than any other race. We do. So it affects us more than any other.
That's a fact.
And plus, the absolute fact. And plus, we have no kind of like recourse outlet as far as economic and political to gauge those controls over how we think or how we're portrayed in media. We have influence, but influence is not power. Oprah is influential, but she's controlled by Discovery Channel and Disney.
Yeah, right. Well, the powers that
Disney have the power to what's saying, but she can influence something, so it's different. We don't have any power or control in the media, which will dictate or give us some kind of tangible control over how or the image what our people see to lead our minds. Because, okay, fine.
That's hugely.
Propaganda is a thing. Propaganda is a thing, right? So, okay, well, propaganda, where did that word even come from? Where did the idea of propaganda in media come from? Was you see it highlighted back when the Nazis did it. They used it purposefully against the Jews in order to make the population they were leading to fight against the Jews, and made it okay for them to slaughter them and put them in gas chambers. Okay? So the world learned that media is a tool. From that point in history, they learned that media is a tool.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, black people here in this country and worldwide, they use it as a tool to make us think a certain way. And they keep us locked out of how we're portrayed. How many times have you heard black people trying to get our voice in media? No, we need black shows and we need Oscars. You know, remember Oscars So White?
Yeah, right. Well, they still pretty white.
We need black voices, and they chant and share black voices. But if you're asking for something, that means you don't have the control of making that happen. You're asking.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I hate to bring
means-
it, y'all already know how I go, and this the PM hour, and yeah,
you don't got no power, man. So that means there's
yeah,
with the say
and it's
so.
powerlessness.
You know what? I mean, and all in all, I just want you guys to just be, just be aware of what's really going out there, man. This thing is really coming from an obvious standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Be aware of the infiltration of the masculation. And that goes for black men. You feel what I'm saying? So go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I want you guys to be aware of that. Please subscribe, comment. You know what I'm saying?
Penetrate
y'all
my
know what it is. You know what I'm
masculation.
saying? I want y'all to talk about this because y'all know what it is, man.
You know
because we need the black man. We are the backbone of the black community. We are, man.
I don't know.
One love.